Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, it's a huge show as we take a look back at WWE Raw and SmackDown, the latest from TNA Wrestling, including this past Thursday's Impact. Major announcement about our WrestleMania coverage, continuing coverage of the Jack Swagger story from Wednesday, and we go in-depth on monsters in professional wrestling. We've also got this week's Event Center and Diamond of the Ring. All that right here, right now, on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. Coming off the heels of a legendary and historic night in Milwaukee just last night at Potawatomi Bingo Casino. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report's Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Hero. And wow, what a night last night. Three amazing men, Jim Ross, Gene Okerlund, and Jerry the King Lawler, candid, entertaining, and enlightening on stage in Milwaukee at Potawatomi Bingo Casino.
One of the greatest, most special nights I've been a part of. Damian, congratulations on moderating that event. You were #tremendous.
Thank you for that. It was fun. It was nerve-wracking. It was comfortable all at the same time. And it was a special night for 500 very, very dear, close personal friends, as Gene would say, in Milwaukee. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Hopefully within the next few months, David Hero, we'll have some news, if you will.
If you will.
But let's get down to this week's business, and this week's business is led by WWE and the WWE Report. Let's kick that off, David Hero, with the breaking news that literally happened during our Primetime Wednesday broadcast. Jack Swagger arrested on misdemeanor charges just this past Tuesday night, after the SmackDown tapings in Mississippi. He was charged with driving under the influence, possession of marijuana, and speeding. He was released on his own recognizance. However, this is going to be a big problem for Jack Swagger.
He's lucky it happened where it happened.
Oh, so?
Well, it could have been a lot worse for him.
Indeed.
Well, the South is a little more friendly to Jack Swagger.
It is going to potentially be a lot worse for him. Jack Swagger set to be in the main event at WrestleMania against Alberto Del Rio. And, I mean, things could change dramatically.
You know,
whether he's charged or not.
I mean, there's so much that's going to happen from now until whenever, until everything gets figured out. For me, as a wrestling fan, for me, as a wrestling promoter, for me professionally, I'm frustrated for Jack Swagger. He's a grown man. He made his own decisions. He made his bed. He's now slept in it. He did what he did. No, you know, how do you waste an opportunity? You are going to be one of the top 5 matches, well, now we know how tall he is, at WrestleMania, probably the top 3 because it's a world title match, and you just get to you will never get this is a push along the same lines as Sergeant Slaughter when he was pro-Iraqi. He was going to get a ton of heat, a ton of TV time, going to make a lot of money, and as of right now, I feel he's going to lose all of it.
That potential is definitely there, and, well, we're going to leave that, and we're going to continue covering it.
Everything is allegedly.
Well, no, yes, until he was arrested and charged.
Allegedly.
That happened. He was arrested and charged.
Allegedly.
But the story will continue to develop, and follow us on Twitter, at PWR Show on Twitter. Again, that's at PWR Show on Twitter to get all the late-breaking news, not sensationalism and speculation, but the latest facts and news on this situation.
The WWE doesn't really consider marijuana one of their illegal substances.
Yes, they do. It's written that way.
They get fines for it.
Different drugs are in different categories,
right,
correct?
Different categories. So it's not like he got busted with heroin or crack or cocaine.
Correct.
So he may not be punished as severely if it was something else.
But he was arrested. That's the difference. Policy clearly states an arrest for these things will lead to whatever. But we talked about that on Wednesday, so be sure to check out Wednesday's show. I'm not talking about the Harlem Shake that we did on Wednesday.
You guys did a Harlem Shake?
You did a Harlem Shake.
I was not in a Harlem Shake.
But we are talking about the primetime Wednesday night edition. But David, let's now go back to WWE Raw this past Monday night because some substantial things happened there as we drove down the road to WrestleMania. And the first of which is may as well continue the trend of talking about him, the State of the Union address from Jack Swagger and his manager.
You know what?
Inflammatory, fun, exciting, risque, and I loved it.
It got people talking. It lit a fire under fans. It got people frustrated. Heat, emotional investment, everything you want for a good, strong heel. But now we got to wait and see.
We do have to wait and see, but WWE had actually gone into damage control with Jack Swagger before the situation of late Tuesday night, releasing a statement saying
he's going to get fired. You know that? It's way too much heat for the company. We're a publicly traded company. Right now, this one guy has way too much heat on him.
But only half of it's his fault.
Well, right, but it's perception is reality in the wrestling business.
In the media business.
So, yeah, this is all bad for Jack. His wife has to take back that Hall of Fame dress she just bought.
Vicky Guerrero names the new assistant. His name is Brad Maddox. And David Hero, I'm a Brad Maddox guy.
I'm not surprised because he has the arrogance of Eric Bischoff. He reminds me of Eric Bischoff 25 years ago. The swagger, the arrogance, the cockiness, the jet black hair, the whole deal. Obviously, the powers that be see a whole lot of goodness and money in Brad Maddox because they just keep using him and pushing him and putting him in front of the TV. Something big. You know, they did the same thing with John Morrison when he was Johnny Nitro. Mm-hmm. But I think they have a bigger plan for Brad Maddox than that.
We talked about it on our brand new broadcast called PWR Hot Tag, which was just last night, available on our website and here on YouTube as well. And a brand new WWE Championship belt was revealed this past Monday night on Raw.
Big W.
Only difference is it doesn't spin this time.
Wait a minute. First they have the Tea Party guy. Now they got a big belt with a W on it. What are they subliminally trying to tell us?
The Shield gets another big win this past Monday night.
Huge win for the Shield. I mean, but another big loss for Ryback. This guy.
But are we going somewhere with that? No, Ryback Sheamus Mania? Ryback heel?
You know what? I have no problem with Ryback and Sheamus at Mania. That could be. I think Sheamus, as funny as it may sound, can actually carry Ryback to a pretty solid match. Sheamus had a great program with Big Show. And now going with Ryback, I get it, it makes sense, but I still believe Ryback and the Shield has one more match, and that'll be at WrestleMania. I could see Ryback taking on all three guys.
The show ends with Punk taking out Cena, who was on his way to attempt to take out Rock for the new championship.
You don't know he's going to take out The Rock.
But what we do know is that was a ways to get to next week on Raw from Dallas, Texas, a big matchup between John Cena and CM Punk. John Cena has put his championship opportunity at WrestleMania on the line against one CM Punk. And David Hero, you have been an advocate of the three-way match between Cena, Punk, and Rock. Is this how we get there on Monday night on Raw? And
Absolutely.
If so, how does it happen?
Absolutely. Well, it's simple. It's going to be a double DQ. It'll be a double count-out. It'll be a draw some way, somehow, somewhere. And they have to do it. They have to reward Punk with this match at WrestleMania. They've invested so much in him. It's Punk, Cena, and Rock are the three biggest stars in the company. They keep saying John Cena has yet to beat CM Punk, has yet to beat The Rock. Well, why not put these two guys with John Cena in a three-way, and then maybe, just maybe, then John Cena can beat The Rock and CM Punk on the same night in the same match on the biggest stage of them all.
We also found out that next Monday night on Raw, Vince McMahon will have a fight with Paul Heyman.
I don't like it. When they announced it, I heard crickets.
A lot of them.
Nobody cared.
The crickets were stepping on the pins that had just dropped.
It's because it's not believable. It's Vince McMahon, Vinnie Mac, the genetic jackhammer, on crutches, hobbling down to the ring. Paul Heyman has got to beat Vince McMahon. He does. Otherwise, why does Paul Heyman keep coming back? He's the butt of all the jokes. They make fun of him. They beat him up, the whole thing. Unless this is how they're going to set up Rock and Hunter. Or Brock Lesnar
and
Triple H.
Over on SmackDown just last night, ironic, Jack Swagger gets a huge win on Randy Orton.
Well, of course, because they didn't know he was going to get arrested after the show.
Alberto Del Rio gets a win on Wade Barrett, and big things happening on the main event this past Wednesday night. The Big Show dominates, defeating the Usos, the Great Khali, Brodus Clay. However, it was Miz who made the save ultimately. Not sure how believable that is.
It's not.
But Big Show dominant on main event.
Are you kidding me? Great Khali. I would be concerned if I saw him walking at me down a dark alley.
You'd be able to get away real quick, though.
Well, of course, he's not that fast. I might be a little bit faster than him. Brodus Clay, I'd be like, whoa, big man, slow down. But the Miz walking at me down a dark alley, I'm not going to sidestep anybody there.
That is this week's WWE report, ladies and gentlemen. A lot more still to come on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, as we have the latest from TNA Wrestling, including results from Impact this past Thursday night, major announcement about our WrestleMania coverage, and we go in depth on monsters in professional wrestling. But first, it's this week's Diamond of the Ring when we come back right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
Hello, this is Jeff Hardy, the Charismatic Enigma, and you're watching the Pro Wrestling Report on My 24 Milwaukee.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night, Saturday, February 23rd, 2013. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And David, It's time for one of my favorite parts of the show each week, this week's Diamond of the Ring, presented by Robert Hack Diamonds.
Well, you know, this week's Diamond of the Ring, I was thinking, who could it be? I mean, I was going to go with Jack Swagger originally, but good God almighty, his diamond turned out to be a cubic zirconia. So that's definitely not going to work. I sent a call to my good close personal friend Matthew Smith, and he agrees with me. He says you got to go with the Shield as this week's Diamond of the Ring. Big win at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Another big, solid victory on Monday Night Raw. Those three guys are doing some amazing things. This week's Diamonds of the Ring.
Good choice. Also, the latest members of the Nelson family taking me to victory at WrestleMania.
Sure.
Here's the, well, actually, thank you for that Diamond of the Ring presented by Robert Hack Diamonds, ladies and gentlemen.
On D2 right now.
Yes, and what's next, though, is Linda, who is joining us again this week with another edition of the Event Center.
Did you see
Linda,
the bruises on her knees?
Linda, take it away.
Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. I'm Linda Kay, here to bring you the news on all the latest events coming to the Milwaukee area. Thanks to the hundreds that came out to GLCW's Shattered Dreams with Goldust last Friday night and the historic Tales from the Ring last night at Potawatomi Casino. GLCW returns to Circle B with Too Sweet on Friday, March 8th, featuring Big Sexy Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now at blizzardbrawl.com and start at only $10 each. Speaking of Nash, Big Sexy is on his way to New York to host the Shenanigans Meet and Greet Party in the Concrete Jungle on Saturday, April 6th, right after the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony across the street from Madison Square Garden. Big Sexy will not be alone. You can meet all 15 stars for only $40. Tickets are on sale now at pwrshow.com, where you can also find a schedule of must-do events during WrestleMania weekend. Speaking of WrestleMania weekend, the first ever PWR Hall of Fame ceremony will take place Friday, April 5th in Manhattan. Be there live as Axe and Smash of Demolition will be joining King Kong Bundy for the inaugural class. Armando Estrada will be the master of ceremonies for the PWR Hall of Fame. Want the best deal in town? Get weekend passes now for admission to the Hall of Fame and the Shenanigans Party for only $60 each at pwrshow.com and save $10 on both events. That's it for this week's PWR Event Center. I'm Linda Kay, and we'll see you at the matches.
Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle. It's a huge night. Another name just added, David Hero. I'll let you break this one.
Oh, there's Maria Kanellis.
Well, we broke that one on Monday, but a doctor will be in the house.
There's so many different people that have been added. I've lost complete track.
Did you forget?
Yeah.
I said there'll be a doctor in the house.
The Doctor of Style?
No, he's not signed.
The Doctor? I don't know.
Anyways, well, of course, he messed that up, ladies and gentlemen. PWRshow.com and on Twitter, we'll have all that information. But right now, it's time to go in-depth here on a Primetime Saturday. And we're going to talk about monsters in professional wrestling. Here's the thing. Mark Henry, this past Sunday night at the Elimination Chamber, showed the world...
Isaac Yankem?
Showed the world how great he is and showed the world at how just terrifying he could be. This was a situation which raised a lot of questions. A lot of people saying, why is this not the Big Show? Why is this not such and such, this person, that person? If you look back into the past of professional wrestling, big men have successfully performed the monster role very often. The last one, or one that always comes to mind, a man that you were legitimately afraid of because of the power he exhibited in that ring and the lack of caring he had for others, was probably Vader, or is, at least for me, Vader. But David Hero, the Mark Henry effect. This is big. This is great the way they're doing it. And even before he got injured and was gone for a while, he was as dominant as he is now, but the reintroduction has been amazingly successful.
Well, you know, if you think about monsters, you think of the Wild Samoans, you think of King Kong Bundy, you have Vader, you got Kamala, you got Bastion Booger as a big monster, just larger than life, El Gigante, Giant Gonzalez. There's lots of monsters. But Mark Henry takes it to a whole new level. Just the look on his face, the way he carries himself, he's not in a gimmick. He's not wrapped up in airbrushed muscles on his body. You know,
he's just a bad man.
Just a bad
a believable.
Man. Yes,
they don't have to prove it to us.
No, seriously. You know, when I talked about guys walking down and you sidestep for Mark Henry because you know he will punch you in the face. Mark Henry, gone. I mean, he's had some terrible gimmicks. When they first brought him in, they wrapped him up in red, white, and blue spandex and.
Oh, he was an Olympian. He had signed a 20-year contract. Sure. It was 1996.
You know, and then they did Sexual Chocolate, which was funny, haha.
Actually, everybody still remembers that.
Of course. And then they did some terrible stuff with him, but he is just a dominating force. And every match he's in, you have to believe he can win. And they don't have that very often with today's monsters anymore.
Could they, though? Could a Ryback fall into that role?
Ryback kind of is in that role.
Yeah.
Every match Ryback has lost has been because of nonsense. You know, he's been screwed over, shenanigans, you know, powerbombs.
But he's yelling, "Feed me more," which is forced.
That is the problem with Ryback. He is very, I'm going to say one-dimensional. You know, a big jacked up guy, great power moves, but it's forced.
Mark Henry this past Monday night, though. And everything he says, again, fits because it's him saying it. Remember when Khali was in the ring, it was like, if I want to dance, I'd go on a date.
Right, exactly.
Believable. He would say that. It makes sense.
He didn't cower away from it.
Not at all. He just left.
Like, you know what? I'm going to do this again.
He didn't have time for that.
No, nobody's got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Mark Henry. Maybe he steps into Swagger's role at Mania. My God, I love it. If Swagger's replaced, if something happens, if he ends up getting suspended from this situation from this past Tuesday night.
I don't know if they do that.
Why not?
I think they have other things to do with Mark Henry. I don't think putting him in that spot is the right call.
He's a former world champion. His reign is one that many thought should have gone much longer than it did.
I don't know if Del Rio and Mark Henry will have in-ring chemistry.
And that's important. Well, monsters of the ring, ladies and gentlemen. At least that's what we were just talking about. Mark Henry, a dominant force in professional wrestling and back on WWE television. But so much more still to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, including a preview, or actually we have the major announcement about our WrestleMania coverage. And folks, again, this is awesome. It's going to be fantastic when you hear what's happening starting on March 16th here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
I know who it is now.
But we'll be right back, though, David Hero, after a few short messages from our partners.
The biggest party during WrestleMania weekend is coming to Manhattan. PWR presents Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle, hosted by Big Sexy Kevin Nash on Saturday, April 6th. The party starts right after the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony, just steps away from Madison Square Garden. VIP tickets include free drinks and more, and are only available in limited quantities. Get your tickets now for this tremendous Hall of Fame after party right across the street from Madison Square Garden. It will be epic.
Hi, this is Lita, and you are watching the Pro Wrestling Report on My24 Milwaukee.
For 15 years, PWR has set the bar on pro wrestling reporting, revolutionizing the field with innovation and a clear commitment to you, the fans. In celebration of our 15-year anniversary, we're doing it again. PWR is honored to welcome a new member to the Primetime broadcast team who will guide us on the road to WrestleMania. Please join us in welcoming former WCW, TNA, and WWE champion, Big Sexy Kevin Nash, to the Pro Wrestling Report broadcast team. Nash will be joining PWR hosts Damian Nelson and David Hero in studio starting Saturday, March 16th, and will appear every week leading up to WrestleMania 29. PWR and Kevin Nash. It simply does not get any better.
Well, David Hero, you know, when we say we're going to do something big, we do it big. And sitting right here at this very table, in this very studio, in this very city, on this very show, taking us down the road to WrestleMania, Big Sexy Kevin Nash will be on this panel talking with us about WrestleMania starting March 16th, going all the way through WrestleMania weekend. Our new co-host.
Where's there going to be room for you?
Oh. I mean, you know, there was one problem with that announcement. It said he was joining you and me.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the month off.
I get the whole month off?
No, I'll need you here. So, big, huge, Kevin Nash, Big Sexy. And, you know, hey, Kevin says what he feels, says how he feels.
Are you going to have like some red wine here for him and everything?
We don't drink on air.
What's in the coffee cup?
Big Sexy Kevin Nash, a celebration. 15 years on the air, ladies and gentlemen, on broadcast television.
You know, if you think about it, we just celebrated 15 years of GLCW, 15 years of Pro Wrestling Report.
10 million views of the Pro Wrestling Report last August, and so much more.
Just awesome.
Yep. That's coming March 16th, ladies and gentlemen. But
316.
PWR 316, that's a hashtag.
That's where
You can use it, no colon.
Here.
TNA News, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to this week's TNA report. And this past Thursday on Impact Wrestling, it was their final show taped over in the United Kingdom. And Robbie E. and Robbie T. are showing a little dissension in the ranks, if you will, as Robbie E. lost to Spud due to interference by Big Rob T.
Brutal.
Are the sweaters going to collide?
You know, you got to believe that right now they're on a collision course at Lockdown. You got to believe. Well, that's good for me. I need points. And Robbie hasn't been on a whole lot of pay-per-views lately.
Ah, there you go.
So
you do
Robbie
need points.
E and Robbie T, you got to figure head-to-head, face-to-face, Lockdown in San Antonio. Gonna be Robbie is underrated. He's
very underrated.
He's a very good talent. Doesn't get credit where credit's due.
But you know where he is getting a lot of credit from? A lot of veterans in the industry. People have said some very good things about Robbie E.
Yes.
And that very thing you don't hear said very often about younger professional wrestlers is that he, quote-unquote, gets it.
He does get it. Yeah, he's going to get it from Rob Terry, unfortunately.
He may get it at the Shenanigans party in New York, as he's going to be appearing as part of that meet and greet event from the Pro Wrestling Report.
I also hear that there's going to be a doctor in the house. Dr. Tom Pritchard. What?
How about all of a sudden you know that?
Well, because Cal called me back.
Speaking of lockdown, ladies and gentlemen, Wes Briscoe will go one-on-one with Kurt Angle at Lockdown. And also, Bully Ray was named.
Do not make me be the booker that match.
Bully Ray was named as #1 contender by Hulk Hogan for Jeff Hardy's TNA Championship. And
that's all bad for Jeff Hardy.
Bully Ray, he did an interview recently with The Sun over the UK, talked about working as a good guy, a babyface, if you will, and also working with Hulk Hogan. Let's share with you some of his comments he said about working as a good guy. And I quote, "You guys in the press like to use words like heel, babyface, good guy, and bad guy."
Wait, so we're in the press?
We fall into the press category, yeah. "I'm not a heel and I'm not a babyface. I'm not a good guy and I'm not a bad guy. I'm me. Whatever me is at the time is what I am. The difference between me and everyone else is that if you like me, you really, really, really like me. You love me. But if you hate me, you despise me. I guess that's a win-win for everybody. You've never seen me change who I am out there in that wrestling ring. I don't wrestle differently. I don't talk differently. I don't beg the people for approval, and I don't beg them to hate me. I just am who I am. They can make the decisions." It almost sounds like one of those skits from Saturday Night Live back in the
Popeye commercial. I am what I am.
Bully Ray, brilliant in this industry.
He has reinvented himself. He's invested in himself. He's done a fantastic job for TNA Impact Wrestling.
Well, you can always hear much more about TNA Impact Wrestling in our TNA Impact post show. PWR Interactive welcomes some viewers onto that broadcast, which is Thursday nights at 9 o'clock p.m. on our YouTube channel. And also, as announced on that show, brand new, every single broadcast episode of the Pro Wrestling Report now available on your podcast, on your iTunes account via the PWR podcast. So be sure to go pick it up. It's free, no charge to you. Big show, Kevin Nash coming to the Pro Wrestling Report. We're out of time, David Hero. We'll see all of you next week right here on the Pro Wrestling Report primetime Wednesday night on My 24 Milwaukee. For that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in.
For 15 years, PWR has set the bar on pro wrestling reporting, revolutionizing the field with innovation and a clear commitment to you, the fans. In celebration of our 15-year anniversary, we're doing it again. PWR is honored to welcome a new member to the Primetime broadcast team who will guide us on the road to WrestleMania. Please join us in welcoming former WCW, TNA, and WWE champion, Big Sexy Kevin Nash, to the Pro Wrestling Report broadcast team. Nash will be joining PWR hosts Damian Nelson and David Hero in studio starting Saturday, March 16th, and will appear every week leading up to WrestleMania 29. PWR and Kevin Nash. It simply does not get any better.